doing the Sewage and Water Board meeting and then coming here and just getting myself prepared for you all. So again, this is our Wednesday briefing that I have with you, and I just want to keep them going. I think that they're beneficial to all of us, quite frankly. As I do, I'm going to start with a couple of updates that I would like to give, and then after which I'll turn it over to John and we'll go through your questions that you posed for me. I have a lot to cover, I would say, in my notes this morning, but I'm going to try to get through it as best as I can, and of course as fast as I can. So I like to start focusing on public safety, and again looking at the preliminary data from the New Orleans Police Department. While this past week of May 7th through the 13th, we did again see fewer armed robberies, carjackings, and auto thefts than the previous week. However, we did see an uptick, an unfortunate uptick, if you will, in violent crime in the city. My administration, of course, will continue to work with all public safety agencies, and of course, that being the New Orleans Police Department under my authority. Year-to-date stats using preliminary data from NOPD through May 13th, comparing 2023 to 2022, we do continue still to see progress and show progress. Murders are down 13%, non-fatal shooting incidents are down 8%, non-fatal shooting victims down 5%, total crimes against persons are down 17%, with armed robberies down 19%, and carjackings steady at 46%. Again, I go right back to a comment that I just made. Yes, we did see an uptick in violent crime in our city, unfortunately. As of May the 16th, NOPD has confiscated 1,152 guns so far this year. In comparison to last year as a whole, that was 838 gun confiscations. So just how we're starting this year, looking into the second quarter of this year, we're just making solid, I would say, not only arrests, but as it relates to removing guns off the street. This has to be stated as well and really shared. So last week alone, there were 12 guns that were taken in the footprint of the DDD, taken from vehicles. We know that there was some break-ins, in this footprint as well, in the downtown development, again, that footprint. But 12 of those vehicles, 12 weapons were found. And so again, just a call to action to our people. Do not leave weapons in your cars. This is something that the criminal element depends on, and it also is it's kind of fueling what we're seeing in regards to break-ins to vehicles, vehicle break-ins. So keep guns out of cars. I wanted to also just share that my administration will continue, as always, to stand by the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department. With that, moving forward, as it relates to litigation relative to the pension system in regards to the employer and employee pension contributions are not owed on any of the lump sum recruitment and retention incentives that my administration moved forward on. As you do know, that our officers in receiving their incentive pay and the retention, the pension amount was deducted, and we just stand by the fact that when we put forth the resources that will go towards retaining and also recruiting, the anticipation nor the expectation was for those dollars to go towards their pension. And so we have taken the necessary steps in terms of litigation and standing by again that we want those dollars to go directly to our officers now and not the pension. Okay, this is also, now this is speaks very near and dear to my heart, and I take it very seriously as I've listened, and I've even talked directly to families who were impacted by violence of last week, and particularly women in our community. Speaking to them and apologizing, quite frankly, for how my words or my messaging seem to be misconstrued in the fact of blaming victims, so to speak, in terms of the women that did lose their lives, and of course the families that are grieving and will continue to grieve and be fully impacted by the loss of their loved ones in their families, and as relates to several being moms, and celebrating Mother's Day as well. And so I have apologized to family members directly, and those apologies have been accepted. And I'm very grateful and thankful and humbled by that, and being able to communicate, which is very important, us being able to communicate in a healthy dialogue and getting a better understanding of both sides. And I have that without a doubt. And so what I will say is that I just again apologize if I offended or hurt anyone based on the comments that I made in referencing women. And I'm talking and speaking, I guess, from a more of an investigative standpoint. I get more information on what's happening on the streets of the city, in homes, in families, and sometimes I believe I know when I spoke about it, I kind of wove all of those things together, and I did not intend to hurt anyone, and did not even intend to make light of the women and the families that were impacted. So my heart just remains very, very heavy, and I am very sorry for that. I apologize. And so, but we have seen, and again, as I talk about from the investigative standpoint, that we're just seeing again, young women are increasingly associating themselves with people that are involved in illegal or criminal activity, and also as this relates to domestic issues as well. And in some cases, as I know, and as these investigations move forward, that some women don't even know what individuals or relationships that they're in. They don't even know fully the extent and how deep some of these relationships go. And so it's concerning, and really it is disturbing, especially when you see domestic violence and how it plays out and has played out in our community, and even over the past week and 2 weeks. I will just continue to say as well as that what we're seeing is that these incidents are not random or isolated incidents. Oftentimes, again, individuals know one another, and what we're seeing, they're domestic in nature. But I definitely apologize again for offending anyone, and I will continue to do that to set the record straight in regards to my comments and how I can see them being misconstrued. But from my heart to you all, and I'm a woman, I'm a black woman, and a part of this community as well, and have a child as well that's a woman, so forgive me. Also, I'm shifting again to violence, but in particular to laws against women that we're seeing in the state of Louisiana, but particularly the impact that it will have on women across the state, but of course the city of New Orleans. Last week, members of the House, Senate, the State House voted against a bill that would allow abortions in cases of rape and incest. Now, these will have deadly consequences as maternal mortality rates in this state continue to soar in this country, being 40 out of 49. And of course, the impact here in the city of New Orleans. In our state, black women are 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications as well. And over half of these deaths, as we know, are deemed potentially preventable. And by our medical professionals, even that of the city of New Orleans Dr. Jennifer Avegno, who participated on last week to speak out and against the dangers of these bills and the detrimental effects that they will have on our community and our doctors. And also for those who are experiencing domestic and or sexual violence in our city, I did want to just share some resources at this time. Louisiana statewide domestic violence hotline is 888-411-1333, 888-411-1333. There's also resources with the New Orleans Family Justice Center, Women with a Vision, Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response, that's STAR, the University Medical Center, as well as our New Orleans Health Department, all receive resources from the City of New Orleans and really work in partnership with the city, the Health Department, as well as the Mayor's Office of Youth and Families. Also wanted to speak about workforce development. You know, I've been really speaking about the jobs that are available to the city, to residents of our city, particularly even our youth in our city, through the New Orleans Recreation Development Commission, the Mayor's Office of Youth and Families, as well as the Office of Workforce Development, which is Job 1 for the City of New Orleans. We have been just working together to provide several opportunities, educational camps, recreation activities, as well as workforce readiness opportunities as well. Great paying jobs. Also, as it relates to lifeguards in our community, the age is 15 to be a lifeguard in our city, and we know we want all pools open and available to our families in the city, but we need lifeguards on duty to do just that. Career camps. NORD will host 9 career camps across 5 of our districts, meaning every councilmatic district will have career camps available, and they will have the capacity to serve over 1,000 teens, with 630 of them currently enrolled. So we have about 370 spaces that are available. So again, we're all ambassadors in the city of New Orleans, and when we talk about giving our kids something to do, we know what the challenges are, meaning how the impacts what the impacts are on the ground when they're disconnected from these opportunities. And so with 370 slots available, I think that we all collectively have work to do, and I'm going to do my part and just really ask all of our partners to do. And I'm really calling on even groups like the NOLA Coalition. You know, I've asked for them to put out advertisements in regards to what is available. This is about partnership, and this is in the spirit of partnership as well. And the level of communication cannot be one way, it has to be two-way. Midnight basketball. So our superintendent has wanted to stand up midnight basketball in the city of New Orleans. And so with NORD in partnership, we will have midnight basketball at 4 recreational facilities this summer. Joe Brown, Rosenwald, Morris Jeff, as well as St. Bernard Recreation Center here in New Orleans. So 4 sites. The initiative will run from June the 1st through July the 28th. And so we're excited about that. Also, e-gaming. NORD is currently working to start an e-gaming program at the Milne and Cutoff Centers for young people who are interested in video games and technology in the city. There are careers in this. So it's not just about play, but there are just ways to keep the minds active and busy throughout the summer. Summer employment, once again, teen career camps for ages 13 to 15. They may attend a 3-week session and earn a stipend of $450, and again, for their participation. So this is almost like earn, while you learn, but this is 13 to 15. And I tell you, the young people really do appreciate and seeing that when they do invest their time and work and gaining work skills and getting that stipend, they're like, wow, it's preparing them for work, because we have to work to live. And I said, I've been working since 14, and I tell this to my young people. So developing a work habit and that work ethic is something that is important, and I got it from my mother, and hopefully they'll get it from the city by making these opportunities available. Teen Summer Sports Challenge. This is also something teens ages 13 to 17 may earn a stipend of $400 for participation, choosing between basketball or flag football. Again, this is the Teen Summer Sports Challenge. I mentioned lifeguards, but I wanted to mention junior lifeguards. Teens ages 13 to 17 may work at the Nord Pool to learn the skills necessary to become a certified lifeguard. Wanted to mention the Verizon Labs that have been unveiled at 8 different facilities, Nord facilities throughout the city. We unveiled at Rosenwald the Verizon Lab. So we're very excited about this partnership with Verizon, and it just helps us deal with the digital divide that we know that we have. We've been able to do this work prior to the pandemic and really focus on mitigating these efforts or issues throughout our city. So it's partnerships like Verizon that help us meet people where they are. Public health. I'm excited about this, and this is, I have to say, a benefit to fighting very hard and on the front lines for a direct allocation of the American Rescue Plan dollars for the city of New Orleans. It has been a lifeline, but it has also been transformative in our ability to meet our people where they are. On yesterday, I signed the RIP medical debt correspondence, and this is allowing $1.3 million that we put forth and was passed by the New Orleans City Council, $1.3 million of ARP dollars to fund a medical debt elimination program for the city of New Orleans. And what this means, that $1.3 million will wipe out $130 million of debt that's only a burden to residents in our community. So this is going to be transformational as it relates to our residents, and of course, just get that burden off of the backs of our people. And when you're in a community, in a city like ours, and particularly the community that we serve, it's trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma, and the burdens cause trauma. And so, in my opinion, this will alleviate the burden, but also deal with trauma in our city. All these programs, again, are made available and only available because of our direct allocation. The school zone expansion ordinance in the city. I was able to sign that on yesterday as well, passed by the council. 41 schools now qualify for school zoning under this ordinance. You know that there's been schools built in areas throughout the city maybe that did not have a zone previously that we can add, but then also listening to parents, listening to our school community, and working in partnership with them, safe routes to schools as well. And so this will help even mitigate traffic incidents as well as fatalities, unfortunately, that we've seen an uptick in throughout our city and around schools. The city of New Orleans is also taking a bold action to remain proactive in reducing incidents in our city. And so a study conducted from 2017 to 21 just showed that 6,532 car accidents happened around schools, and 206 involved people ages 18 and younger. So again, this legislation wasn't just about just passing something, but it should have an immediate impact in working with my administration to make sure that it got over the hump, but also as it relates to being implemented fully. So we're taking it seriously. Gallier Hall, in commemoration, Gallier Hall, 170 years old. The first city hall in the city of New Orleans. The building will be open to the public for free, self-guided tours in our city. Saturday, May 20th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know, it's been a priority for me and my team to just open up Gallier Hall for events and activities to the public so that they see the asset that we have, and so that when we talk about maintaining our assets, I just want them to be able to see how we're doing that. There's a fund associated with the maintenance of Gallier Hall, but again, I just want it to be something that we pivot towards improving the quality of the environment of public facilities. We've done a poor job just historically in this city with maintaining our public assets. This city hall is an example of that. Good money after bad because of what we have to pump into this building. Even Civil District Court is just another example. But again, Gallier Hall opened first City Hall, 170 years old. I just wanted to also say, I know the VGR report on the Sewage and Water Board was released last night, I believe, about midnight. And so I've been getting inquiries about that. I know the board has as well, and just leaving the Sewage and Water Board meeting. But I will say, you know, the VGR's report speaks for itself. They are pretty much saying exactly what the Sewage and Water Board has been saying for years, which is that our governing structure it's too complex. It is. And what we have seen as well is the City Council's hand in setting rates. It now injects too much politics, I would say, into the process, or even trickery as it relates to it. So, as I stated last week, the Sewage and Water Board is committed consistently, especially under the Cantrell administration, to improving our operations, especially as we continue to prepare not only for hurricane season and climate change, but as we are demonstrating that we're making more investments in our utility than we've seen in decades. And this is, I would say, a once-in-a-lifetime investment that we will see. And we're wanting to make good on that and keep the progress and the work going. And the commitment is there. Rebuilding our infrastructure, cleaning out our drains, our canals, drain lines, and just doing proactive maintenance. So this is something that will continue to be a priority for the utility moving forward. If I missed anything, I'll probably catch it when you ask me questions, but I am tired of talking for a minute. I'm going to get some water, and John, you get us through.